Good morning to you. Good morning to you. Good morning to you. Good morning to you. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another Me First Morning. I am your host, Patricia Barrow Wolfson. I'm an intuitive coach and an energy healer, a wife and a mom of 3 boys. And my mission is to teach you how to number one, calibrate your energy, number two, how to integrate self care into easy, doable steps, and number three, how to embrace your own natural gifts to achieve a life you love. And believe me, it can happen. I know it's tough because that inner critic is loud. That inner critic is always telling you absolutely everything you're doing wrong. But let me tell you, there is a higher power, a higher voice, a much more intelligent collective consciousness that knows the truth, that you are special, that you are unique, and that you are exactly as you are supposed to be for your mission here on earth. And the sooner you believe it, the sooner you'll be able to live the life that you feel connected with, that you feel aligned with, that you feel is you truly walking in your purpose. So let's get started. Good morning. Oh my goodness. Good morning, Jennifer. I'm so glad you're here. You are a beautiful soul. Okay, so let's get started. What are we talking about today? I know what we're talking about today. We're talking about healing. We're talking about communication. So this has been like a little holiday edition, a holiday week. And I have had certain tips and strategies about communication, and I've been sharing with you. So if you've missed the other days and you're interested in getting some communication tips during the holidays, which can sometimes be a little shall we say, challenging when we are with family members or extended family or whatever your situation may be, maybe with friends too. So it can be a little intense at this time of year. It's intense because of the holiday. It's intense because astrologically it's intense right now. We had a full moon, we had a winter solstice, there's a lot going on. I really feel the transition. I don't know if you feel that. In my own life, I'm seeing all sorts of things, wounds, limiting beliefs, fears really come to the surface. And I think that that's the energy that we are living in right now in the world is, we need to start looking at stuff. We need to stop putting things and like sweeping them under the rug and ignoring things or just hoping that they'll automatically resolve themselves. I mean, yes, there are things that we cannot solve, in which case that's when we surrender, or as my friend Maru used to say, uprender to the spiritual realm or to God or to spirits or to ancestors, however you feel, connected. You just give it to them and say, hey, I am doing everything I can, everything within my power to create a change, to do something differently. Now the rest is up to you. So I hand it to you. I no longer take responsibility for what's out of my control, because that's really where we got caught up, right? We think we can control everything, or we try so hard to control everything to avoid certain things because of our fears, because of our beliefs. And then it just becomes really overwhelming. We have anxiety. And it's really hard for us to deal with day-to-day things because we have the weight of things we can't control. So just eliminate the weight of the things that you don't have control over by surrendering it, by handing it to God, by handing it to Jesus. This is his special time of year. And if you have a special relationship with Jesus or Mary, or whether it be Mother Mary or Mary Magdalene, who I feel connected to, just ask one of, or an ancestor. Maybe it's a cousin, an aunt, a grandmother, a father, a mother, someone who's in spirit that can help you. Just pass it to them. Good morning, Mom. Good morning. All right. So that's going to be today's topic. We're going to talk about healing, but what we're going to talk about, because there's all this talk about healing and all this talk, when I was talking about communication this week. So I find that sometimes we may avoid certain conversations because we don't want to have that uncomfortable conversation, or we may avoid certain people, we may avoid certain situations. But we are in an energy of non-avoidance. Recall my lessons on the daily ABCs, right? A is do something that you're avoiding, right? A is take an action where you're in something that you've been avoiding. B is something to do with your body, and C is creativity, right? But the A is super important, that daily ABCs. Daily A, always do something that you have been avoiding in order to release that extensive weight, that heavy, heavy, thick energy that comes from avoiding. So we're going to talk about how that relates to communication, how that relates to relationships, and how healing is not just praying or meditating, although that can contribute, but healing is in the doing. Healing is in taking a different approach. Healing is in setting a boundary where you may previously not have set a boundary. Healing is in taking care of yourself where before you wouldn't think twice. So that's the conversation we're going to have a little bit later. And we're just going to go ahead and start with our Me First Morning ritual because I feel it's important. Let's set the tone for today's intentions to move through this heaviness and this energy of overwhelm, this energy of both excitement and anxiety. That's what sort of this energy feels like. And we're going to take care of that first by just grounding ourselves or centering ourselves. Okay. Sorry, feeling some gastro stuff going on. Okay. Anyway, let's light our candle together. If you're here, please say hi. Also, if you have not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do so right now. Go to Jumpstart for Change on YouTube. Just press the subscribe button and ding the notification bells, and you'll know when I'm on, which, for your information, is from Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. every day. You can find me on Facebook, and you can also find me on YouTube. Once again, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Jumpstart for Change. Hi, Alina. How are you? Perfect timing. I just lit the candle, and now we're going to do a little our deep breathing. So get your essential oils, whichever ones you want. Okay, and this is to continue the transition from whatever sort of morning chaos routine was happening to now bringing ourselves down into that centered place in your body. We're going to take deep breaths. I'm going to start the official deep breaths, but each step has its own purpose, right? And each step, almost like in hypnosis, if you've ever been hypnotized, someone says, 10, you're feeling sleepy, 9, you're even more tired, right? So in this morning ritual, it's kind of the reverse because we don't want you to be super tired, but we do want you to get kind of centered and calm. And so you light the candle, and that's the first step where your body feels like, we're lighting the candle, we're starting our routine. Then you put the essential oils, right? And the rest of the body catches up because the olfactory senses are so powerful that they send you right to that place. So hopefully you pick a scent that relaxes you or that centers you or that energizes you if that's what you want this morning. Hopefully you're not picking a scent that, kind of makes you blah because, well, then you're going to feel so blah. Okay. All right. So we're going to do our 3 deep breaths, 3 intentional deep breaths. Feel free to grab a crystal if you want some extra support. I like to use my crystal spheres. Sometimes I use them, sometimes I don't, but today I will use them. And this clear quartz is amplifying. So that's why I like to sort of amplify my peaceful experience in the morning and hopefully carry it through the day. And now we do our 3 deep breaths. So as you are taking your deep breath, I want you to imagine just opening up the top of your head. And so this is sort of like, you're opening this up to receive all of the beautiful healing light that comes from the heavens. Imagine it as liquid sunlight just pouring into your head, right? And that is the gift. A gift from God, just sunlight pouring into you. And then you put your feet planted on the ground. And I want you to imagine your legs as straws. And just as well, you have the sunlight pouring in, you have the nurturing life force energy just going through you, using your legs almost like trees and the roots, pulling up that beautiful healing energy, pulling up that nourishment for your body, for your soul, and allow those 2 energies to connect and mix. And as they do, this healing light, this blinding, healing, beautiful, powerful light is just going to break apart anything that does not serve you, any dense, heavy, or stuck energy that's in your body. It's just going to break it apart. And then this all happens while you're holding breath, by the way, but I'm explaining it slowly so you can follow along and know what we're doing. So you take a deep breath, all the energies mix. Imagine that light, that healing light just permeates all of your body, all of your cells through every single part of you. And then when you exhale, you are going to release all of that energy that no longer serves you. Any thoughts, any feelings, any energy that is just not working for you, we're going to release it. So let's do that together now. 3 deep breaths. And all of that is what's happening while we're taking these deep breaths, okay? So let's do that together. And hold. And this is where you imagine all of the light in your body breaking apart any stuck, stagnant energy as you hold your breath. And when you're ready, release. And blow out any of that energy that doesn't serve you. Let's do that again. And hold. Let the beautiful, magical, healing light do its work. Let the sunlight fill you. Let the nourishing light heal you. And now release. Okay, one last time, and let's make this count. A really deep breath, okay? And hold. And release. I held onto that breath for a little long because I needed it. All right, now let's do some stretching. So just as we take care of that stuck, stagnant energy on the inside, we also want to release any tension or stiffness in our body. So, just scan your body if you haven't already done so, and just touch base and see what parts are uncomfortable, what parts are in pain, what parts are stiff, what parts need releasing, right? And let's do that now. So I like to do real neck stretches because that's where most of my tension is right here, probably because I sit on the computer. That's probably the case for many of you. And I really need a good neck stretch. And it could be a back stretch too. Like this. Oh my goodness. Feels so good. And just let it flow. Yeah. Release that tension. Whatever tension you have going, whatever part of your body that works for you, this is the one that works for me right now. Oh. Ooh. Okay, shake it out. Shake it out. So shaking it out is the equivalent of that that exhale that we took when we did our breaths, right? Because you exhale to release that energy that's stuck that no longer serves you. And we shake to do the same thing. So we're shaking off that energy that we sort of loosened up with our stretches. Okay. Whew, that felt like a workout. I don't know if it's supposed to, but it's all good. All right. Let's pull a card. Let's see what the energies have to say about today, about today's topic. I don't know if you guys read my post. I did put a lot of time into it. So I just want to talk about, I'm just going to read from what I wrote because it's important to address it, and then we're going to talk about it. And that's, so, what I talked about, that this is a challenging time of year, okay? The pressure mounts, and we know that. And the tendency is to resort to old coping mechanisms. So, and this is definitely, we're talking about, in communication and in relationships, right? You're going to somebody's house for the holiday, whether it be, Christmas or Kwanzaa or New Year or anything else that's coming up, and you're going to see family, and, there's always somebody that's got a question for you that you're not ready to answer, or somebody else that's going to say something triggering because they don't know you or they don't understand you, or you feel judged by them. And so the tendency may be to resort to old coping mechanisms, right? To just get through this holiday season, right? You may, drink or eat or avoid or be on your phone or, whatever that coping mechanism is, especially if it's a coping mechanism that you have developed and used for many, many years. I ask you to reconsider your coping mechanisms this year. And the reason I say that is not because I disagree with you using a coping mechanism. I think those are very important. what I'm saying is that very often, if we want to see evolution, if we want to see healing in our lives, it's really important for us to take active steps that change how we do things, because that's where the healing lies. And I said that, but I really, really mean it. And it's something that I'm discovering myself. I can set a million intentions, right? And the intentions are important. That's what this is all about, is for us to start the day with a good ritual, with setting an intention. Oh my God, guys, I forgot to set the intention. That's literally the whole point of this, and I forgot to set it. All right, well, I'm gonna pull the card first, and then we'll set the intention and say the prayer. There's a lot going on in my mind, so excuse me if it feels a little disjointed sometimes. Um, but what I wanted to say is that uh, I'm not judging your coping mechanisms. What I am saying is that if there is an area in your life where you want to see progress, and very often I find that relationships, right, and communication within relationships is where you can get the most healing, right? Because it's in relationships that we feel our personal evolution. Everything's great on your own, right? I can sit here on my own, and I joke about it all the time, like doing yoga poses on a mountain, and all of a sudden I feel connected and aligned and one with source, and that's fantastic, and that's wonderful, right? But the real healing begins when you can go from that place and you can integrate that same feeling, that same connection, that same alignment. How can you integrate that into your day to day? And what I'm trying to tell you is that you can integrate it by taking an active role in your healing by making different choices. So if you have a challenging relationship with a sibling, your sister, your brother, or a non-binary sibling, right? And there's some uncomfortable conversations that need to happen, and normally you avoid them. Maybe now's the time to just put things on the table with kindness and compassion. Now, if you're not in a place where you can have a kind and compassionate conversation, well, then, you have to decide, can I do this? Because it's going to be much easier when you approach anything with kindness and compassion. Um, but regardless of whether or not you can, I really want you to think about, if you want healing in that part of your life, like I used the example, a situation with a sibling, if you really want healing there, then you have to take the steps to do something different than you've ever done before. You have to choose to be vulnerable. You have to choose um, to make that choice that maybe you haven't done. And especially in a relationship like a sibling or your parents, or, something where a pattern has been a long time established of how you respond to each other. You can usually see, especially with siblings, right? It's like, oh, if I say this, they're going to say that. And you could like have an entire conversation in your head and know exactly how it's going to go. And chances are you'll probably nail it, like really nail it. But if you want it to be different, then you have to contribute differently. Your energy needs to be different. What you say or what you do has different. So ask yourself, what can I do differently in this conversation that may result in the healing of this relationship? Now, let me tell you, it may not be easy. It's not going to be pretty, especially if we're talking about strained relationships. But I promise you, it's going to be worth it if you're able to shift those heavy, heavy feelings, and maybe like bringing to the surface those unspoken things, those uncomfortable situations, anything that you've been avoiding in that relationship. If you can bring it to the surface with kindness and compassion and have a conversation about it, you're going to shift everything in your life, not just that relationship. It's going to change things everywhere. Okay, let me pull this card. Then we're going to set the intention, and then I'm going to talk a little bit more. Okay. If you guys have any questions, like let me know. I don't know if you have any personal situations that you kind of want me to, answer questions or address. I was thinking of maybe doing that next year. Next year, meaning in the new year. I was thinking of adding a day where we can do like a Q&A, or you guys can submit questions about a specific situation in your life, and I can address it from the Me First Formula perspective, or from the healing is in the doing perspective. So just putting that out there. If you guys are interested, let me know. Hi, Meredith. Oh my goodness, I'm so glad you're here. Okay. God, I've been shuffling that. Oh my God, guys. We got the bone collector card again. I don't know who was here yesterday, but the bone collector card was yesterday's card. And it apparently is today's card too. This is the number 1 card. And this is, so once again, if there was any confusion as to what you should be doing right now, get down to brass tacks, okay? It's time for you to release and remove anything that isn't serving you. It is time for you to create a solid foundation. And when you're creating a solid foundation, like if you think of, okay, like I don't build houses, so I can't like do a building house thing, but if I was to imagine myself building a Lego house, okay, that I've done, and if you want like a solid foundation, then you have to put the right bricks lining the bottom, right? So that all has to be in place, and every brick has a purpose. And depending on how big you make it, right, that's going to be how much you can put on this house, right? And so you have to decide, what are you adding to your house? And if you're using Lego, like what colors do you want it? Do you want flowers? Do you want a door? Do you want some windows, right? And you have to collect those pieces, from the pile of crap, right? Of the pile of Legos that's in your house. And you have to collect what you want for your house and bring it to your side, right? And be like, okay, I want like 25 red bricks. I want this and that, whether you're working with a map, like a Lego map, or whether you're creating something on your own, you have to ultimately know what pieces you want to bring with you to create this house. And the same thing goes for this. And this is how the bone collector goes, right? Which is like, what house do you want to build? What life do you want to build? What are the essential building blocks of that life? What needs to be included and what do you need to remove, right? When you're making a Lego house and you're only making it a certain size, you can't then like keep adding things and then it's like, they don't fit, right? Because, like the base of the Lego has a certain amount of little, of the parts where you put the Legos together, right? So if you have more than that, if you've added more bricks, then you're just piling crap, and you're throwing Lego bricks like in a pile. That doesn't make anything. And that's really what we've done with our lives, isn't it? Like we have a good foundation and we start throwing shit at it and be like, you, this, that, this healing method, that healing method, this trigger, that trigger, this wound, and it's just a big mess, right? So it's time to like start from scratch and just take out everything, right? Remove everything that's not necessary. Like what are the essentials? The essentials are love. The essentials are family. The essentials are, what are the essentials to you? You have to decide that. I can't decide for you. However, if you need help, I do have my free GPS workbook for anybody that has not downloaded yet. It is free. It is wonderful for you to do just before the new year. So I highly recommend downloading it. You will end up on my email list, so you will get notifications for when I go live. And it's also a way for you to reach out to me. So if you have not gotten the GPS workbook, do that now. Okay, so now since we know that the bone collector is back and clearly haunting us for this season, I want us to set our intentions. So think about how you want either this holiday to go or how you want 2022. God, how is it 2022 already? Okay, how you want 2022 to go or how you want your life in general to go. You set whatever intention you want. It can be just for today. It doesn't have to be for the whole holiday. It can just be, I would like today to go like this, right? What's the feeling? What do you want to embody today during the holiday for 2022? And let's set that intention. And now I'm going to say my prayer and ask that the angels and spirit guides and source and all other beings of 100% pure white light come in and help us hold space for each of our intentions and help us hold space for the highest level of humanity. May we have the strength and courage to step forward and move humanity forward to a place where we can all thrive. Okay, so that's like my little intention, I think. I just said that. I said that because that really is my intention. So let's begin. Divine Mother, Infinite Father, Creator, Ascended Masters, Archangels, Spirit Guides, Ancestors, and all beings of 100% pure white light, allow me to be a clear and open channel of your light and love without hesitation or ego. My highest vibration of infinite consciousness connect with my higher self and release any and all things that no longer serve me. I ask that Saint Germain and his infinitely powerful violet flame burn away all the things that no longer serve myself or humanity and hold us back from divine existence. Help us to embody our intentions for the day and help us raise the collective vibration for the highest and greatest good of all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So be it, and so it is. Okay, now I said it. Bom dia, São. God bless you too. Thank you so much. Santo Natal para toda a tua família. Sim, obrigada. Santo Natal para você e a sua família também. Muito obrigada. Okay, so now that we've said that, we're going to I really want to go back and talk a little bit more about this healing, right? And why it's important to do this now, as soon as possible. We keep creating these ideas of what we want out of our life. I want to feel peace. I want to feel relief. I want to finally feel like I've achieved what I want to achieve. I want to feel like I made it, right? I don't know what making it means to you. And I think it shifts and changes, right? Because there's plenty of people who have made it financially and are still unfulfilled and they're, not living their best life. And it looks like they're living their best life to us on the outside, but we don't know what's happening on the inside. And also the same goes for anyone else, who you see and it looks like they have everything together, but we are all facing our own challenges. Life is about expansion. Life is about growth. And in order to, experience growth and evolution, you have to go through some growing pains. You have to experience some things that, are maybe a little bit or maybe a lot uncomfortable. And it is how you react to it. It is how you shift your thinking. It is how you approach it. That's where the evolution happens. That's why it's so important when we talk about the healing is in the doing. So if you have any situation in your life that has been begging your attention, right? And like I said, we're talking about communication and relationships. So it could be a strained relationship with somebody you love. It could be a strained relationship with a child, with a parent, with a friend. Things just aren't feeling right. And there's a lot of people going through that right now because there's been such division in the world about literally everything. Because that's what's happening right now. We have to look at ourselves and say, hey, what's really important to me? And may I also say that whatever is important to you is important to you. And whatever is important to someone else is important to them based on their life experiences, based on, their own belief system, based on their values, based on their upbringing, based on many, many, many factors. And I also want to add that your opinion is yours and is valid regardless of anyone else sees things the way you do, right? Because everybody has their own perspective. Now, I am the mother of 3 boys, okay? And I've always been around boys. I have a husband. I have a good relationship with my father. I have a brother. I know boys really, really well, right? But I don't know everything about boys because I'm not a boy. So if my children talk to me about something that's a specific boy issue for them, okay, whatever, like something going on with them, then I have to understand that there's going to be something about that conversation that I don't know because I don't have the experience. And sometimes even when you do have the experience, even if even if I was a boy, the experiences are different, right? Just like women. There's some women that have terrible, terrible cramps. And then there's some women that have no cramps. And so each one of our experiences are unique. Each one of our, lives, our perspectives is unique. So even if you're the only person who sees things that way or thinks that way, that's okay. Stop trying to convince other people to see things from your perspective because they won't unless they want to. And in some cases, they may want to and still not be able to see it. I know plenty of supportive men and really attentive, supportive, fantastic men who just don't know what it's like to live as a woman walking down the street in a dark alley. and you can come up with a million different philosophies and what you think that might feel like and what you think that might look like or what you think should be done or not done in that situation as a man. But if you are a man, you have no idea what it's like to live as a woman in a dark alley at night. Same goes with me. I have no idea what it's like to walk anywhere as a transgendered person. I can't possibly know that. So when someone tells me, here's my experience, here is my viewpoint, here is how things look from my perspective, I'm going to say, okay, thank you for sharing. That's not my experience, but thank you for sharing that with me. And thank you for trusting me with that information. And you hold space for that person to tell you what their experience is like and don't question it because you can't possibly know, right? You can't possibly know. And so this is why I talk about the healing is in the doing, because so often in our conversations with people, in our relationships with people, we only have our perspective. And so we are talking to them and we are addressing them from our perspective. Listen to me. Hear me. This is my viewpoint. This is what you did to me, right? But there is another perspective. There is that person who has their own viewpoint, their own perspective. And this isn't a debate over who's right or who's wrong. This is simply, I'm talking about this in terms of an exercise in communicating with somebody, an exercise in effectively communicating with somebody, especially somebody you love or someone you want to have some type of relationship with. Now, you can not like somebody and still have to have a relationship with them. Ask anybody who's separated and has children with their ex, right? You may not, and I'm not saying everybody hates their ex, I'm just saying you may have chosen to not be with somebody and to not have a relationship with somebody anymore. In terms of an intimate relationship, but if you have children together, you have to deal with each other. So there are plenty of situations where we have to have a relationship with somebody that we may not want to, or that we may want to cut out of our lives, but we can't. I mean, not that you can't, but it is in the best interest of the people that you love, such as your children, to maintain a conversation, to maintain a connection. So how can you talk to somebody and in that conversation, think about how you used to do things and just make a different choice? That's where the healing lies. The healing lies in your choices. And if you are making different choices, that is your affirmation that you are trying to heal, that you are actively healing. You are actively making different choices. And so I encourage you to do that, during this holiday season, or if not during this holiday season because you're not ready, I'm not going to judge. As soon as you can, start stepping into the version of you that you want to create. If you want stronger relationships, then do what needs to be done in order to create a stronger relationship. Be honest, be vulnerable, be kind and compassionate. And if you have that in your mind at all times, and you set your boundaries accordingly, right? We have to set boundaries. There's going to be people that push our buttons. There's going to be people that disrespect us. There's going to be people that are jerks and assholes, and you may not want them in your life. So you set the boundary. Whatever boundary you need, you set that boundary accordingly, and that is how you show yourself love. Say, I have to deal with you. Okay. But here are the conditions with which I will deal with you. And until those conditions are met, we're not interacting. And that is in your control. You can control when you interact with somebody. And in that process of healing the relationship, you set really strong, firm boundaries. You set clear goals for what you want from that relationship. And then you do what you can to contribute to changing that situation, right? Always with kindness and compassion. And I'm not going to say love, because love can be a triggering word for people, because you're like, I don't love that person anymore. Well, whatever the case may be, kindness and compassion, everybody deserves it. Everyone does, because that is what our higher spirit would want us to do. That's what God would want us to do. That's what the evolved version of us, it's the only thing we know how to do, is love. That comes from birth. So love more, be kind more, be compassionate more, and do things you wouldn't normally do. Start shaking things up. Make a different choice, and your healing will be in the doing of something that you've never done. Okay, That's my message for today. Good morning, Rachel. I'm glad you popped in to say hi. I will be back tomorrow. We will be having Fun Friday. I will be pulling cards, and I may be taking next week off, but I haven't decided yet. That's just the truth. I'll let you know tomorrow for sure. Have a wonderful, wonderful, blessed day, and I will see you tomorrow, Christmas Eve. Let's rock out together tomorrow. All right. I love you all. I'll see you then. Bye.